Let's bring in our political editor, Andrew Clennell. Andrew, we'll get to the message that Mr Albanese will give his triumphant colleagues in a moment. But first, though, the opposition leader on the front foot when it comes to this biosecurity matter that the government's having to grapple with.
Yes, hanging over the government as they return to Parliament, Kieran. So Opposition Leader Peter Dutton was upping the ante on closing the border to Indonesia because of its foot and mouth disease outbreak on Ben Fordham's program this morning.
I believe the borders should be closed absent the information that the government's got. The Prime Minister really needs to explain why the borders shouldn't be closed.
Well, the PM, Anthony Albanese, wasn't coming at this yesterday when he spoke to Kieran on Sunday Agenda.
These are the strongest ever measures introduced by an Australian government ever in terms of biosecurity when it comes to foot and mouth disease. It's important to note that Australia is foot and mouth disease free, that our products continue to be available to the world, and it's important that we try to do everything that we can to maintain that position.
The advice to the PM from officials, as I understand it, is that there is still only a very slim chance of foot and mouth disease coming into Australia. And the way the government is viewing this is they have two choices, given Indonesia is our major importer of beef: effectively shut down the cattle industry by closing the border, or risk shutting down the cattle industry if foot and mouth gets in. So they are taking their chances and deciding to beef up, so to speak, their response at the border. The opposition leader had a briefing from government officials last week, including the Chief Veterinary Officer and the National Animal Disease Preparedness Coordinator, and has obviously come to a different conclusion. Peter Dutton's call on the border sets the scene, should the disease come into Australia, for the government to be blamed, Kieran.